Good morning. My name is Anne Marie Johnson. I am class of 87 and an economics major from James Madison University. I'm also the president of JMU Federal Dukes. I am proud to be with you today, along with several of the remarkable leaders of JMU Federal Dukes. Before we get started, I would like to thank our first corporate sponsor for JMU Federal Dukes, and that is the company ShorePoint. ShorePoint is led by a JMU Double Duke, Matt Brown, who also chairs the University Engagement Committee with Federal Dukes. We are excited to have our very first corporate sponsor and the opportunity that unlocks for Federal Dukes. The purpose of today's webinar is to tell you about Federal Dukes, how we are moving forward, and ways that you can get involved in building bridges and holding doors. JMU Federal Dukes has an impressive leadership team. 3 of the 5 co-founders continue to serve on the executive committee for Federal Dukes. Several of the leaders that you see on this screen will also speak during this webinar. You'll note that we have some Double Dukes, several CEOs, and founders of successful companies in the federal government market, as well as other leaders in this market. I'm incredibly proud of this wise, hardworking team of leaders. The caliber of this team, coupled with our deepening partnership with the university, is why we have accomplished a lot in 4 short years. The purpose of today's presentation is to share the vision of Federal Dukes in the context of the $2.5 trillion federal government market and our progress to date and the opportunities that you have to engage with Federal Dukes. First, let's start by breaking down the $2.5 trillion federal market. The federal government is a major employer, generating 2.3 million jobs and $648 billion in salaries. 108,000 private sector companies earned $777 billion annually in 2023 through government contracts, generating even more jobs. And finally, 260,000 grant recipients get more than $1.1 trillion in federal grants. That is a big market. The federal government vertical market is a $155 billion economic engine for the Commonwealth of Virginia. 143,000 federal employees live in Virginia and earn $42 billion in salaries, making the federal government one of the largest employers in the state. The number of jobs in Virginia in the federal government vertical is far larger when the private sector companies are considered. While the data that we show on the screen is not about specific jobs, we know that $143 billion in federal contracts was awarded to 9,000 companies headquartered in Virginia in 2023. Virginia also received $25 billion in grants. When the district, Maryland, and Virginia, over 150 colleges and universities are getting federal grants. Grants come in. Let's dive deeper into the grant dollars going to a select group of universities in the district, Maryland, and Virginia. Those 150 colleges and universities in the DMV get $16 billion in grants from the federal government. And looking only in Virginia, colleges and universities get $4 billion in federal grants. In 2023, JMU received $21 million in federal grants. JMU, as an emerging research institution, can dramatically increase funding by pursuing more federal grants. Those federal grants come from a variety of agencies in the federal government. For Virginia universities, Health and Human Services is a major source of grants, as indicated by the big blue blocks for UVA and Virginia Commonwealth University. The National Science Foundation is a notable source of grants across many of the Virginia universities, as is the Department of Energy and the Department of Homeland Security. The DC metro area is home to many universities with campuses from universities across the country. These are big name universities that see value in this federal market. Other Virginia colleges are making moves into the federal market as shown on this screen. However, our market research indicates that while pockets of the federal market are addressed by other universities, no university addresses the breadth of the federal market. And because the federal government hires all majors, a liberal arts school like JMU is well positioned for this market. So now that you understand more about the $2.5 trillion federal market and the impact of the $155 billion annually to the economy of Virginia, you understand why so many JMU graduates are making their livelihood in this market and why the five co-founders saw the need to create an alumni association that would connect JMU graduates, faculty, and staff who are interested in the federal market. I would now like to introduce my fellow co-founder, Double Duke Mike Battle, who is the CEO of BRMI, and he will provide an overview of JMU Federal Dukes. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Good morning, everybody. This is fantastic, a great opportunity to kind of share a lot of what we're doing with Federal Dukes. And we're extremely excited about the future associated with this organization. Now, we're doing something truly unique. And it's exciting because we are a pathfinder. We're the first alumni chapter focused on professional development and networking in the JMU ecosystem of alumni organizations. So we are doing something that we think that's important, but more importantly, exciting because it's new. But we have audacious goals. We have the opportunity to do something truly impactful, not only for the university, but more importantly for our nation. JMU is recognized as when we talk about our vision is really focused on how we can impact the federal government as it protects and serves our nation. And we want JMU to be recognized as a source of talent and expertise in accomplishing that mission. So we're excited about what the possibilities are for JMU Federal Dukes and its impact. We also see a great opportunity to serve a vital role in not only expanding what the university is doing, but also impacting the lives of those folks who are a part of the alumni and student population affiliated with the university. We have tremendous senior leadership already in the federal government, and we want to take advantage of that. That's truly our vision, is to become a brand in the federal government space. Now, what's our real value to JMU in doing this, in being this kind of pathfinder? I like to characterize it as know, grow, compete, and expand. When I talk about know here, what I mean is our ability to be able to inform, be a source of insight about the opportunities that exist in the federal space and building and nurturing this community that JMU can truly take advantage of the opportunities that exist for career development. But first, they really have to understand the federal market. So our job in terms of our value to JMU is helping them know what that value truly is. In terms of grow, I talk about the applied research space. There's, as Anne-Marie described, there's a tremendous amount of funding in applied research and research grants in the federal government. This is a way for the university, which has established itself as an R2 institution, to truly be impactful in this space, but also to drive revenue for the university at a time when revenue is very important for the institution. In terms of compete, now, everybody's probably heard of that 2025 cliff. That's when we have fewer students who are going to be available to go to college just because of the dynamics of our population. In order for JMU to be what it can be, we must compete for the best talent of high school kids going into college. Well, what we need to make sure we are doing is creating brand identity a value for those students to draw them to JMU. We look at ourselves from the Federal Dukes standpoint as helping to develop a component of that brand, something that's attractive to students to come and learn and be a part of, to be able to grow their careers because they have insight and knowledge of the opportunities that exist in the federal space. And last but not least is expand. And what we talk about when we talk about expanding, it's really about how do we take what we do at JMU and broaden its impact. And that comes from the standpoint of curriculum, comes from the standpoint of place where we are teaching and learning, and also from professional development. This is not strictly about undergraduate students. This is about the whole life cycle of the career of an individual. So being able to create professional development opportunities is as important as anything else that we are doing from a JMU Federal Dukes standpoint. So that's our vision, and that's how we look at ourselves in terms of our impact to the institution. Now, what are our strategic priorities? What are the things that we are really focused on and driving right now? Well, we want to increase awareness. The concept of being able to understand the federal mission, it's vast, it's huge, and it's dealing with a lot of things that touch each and every one of us every day. We need to make sure that we're a part of helping to increase awareness of that impact and of the opportunities that exist there. We need to prepare future employees. Now, there's a lot of change going on in the federal government, particularly right now. Our job, as we look at our mission as Federal Dukes, is to help have visibility and understanding of what it's going to take to be successful in this space. We want to make sure we are preparing future employees of the federal government or those who are serving the federal government in any capacity. We're going to help them to be successful. And then building pathways. We want to make sure that we are helping to develop a robust workforce ecosystem. So it's not, back to my previous point about not being just about undergraduates, it's really about creating that sense of a network that impacts individuals throughout their careers. So we're talking in terms of building connections and the depth of a network so that all of us who wear our JMU secret decoder ring really has something there that's meaningful in terms of a connection and a network across all of the folks who are doing business in this space. So that's the way we look at our strategic priorities right now and where we're driving this organization. Now, in order to do this, we take a lot of time to try and be programmatic about it. We've got a lot of professionals that are involved in the development of Federal Dukes and supporting this organization going forward, and they're all very smart. And so I think that there's a lot of work that's gone on to really understand what is the path that gets us to our strategic outcomes. And so I'm not going to go through this map in any real detail because I'm going to talk about specifically what we've accomplished and what we're now going to be focusing on going forward. But this gives you some insight as to what we think needs to happen to get us to our goal. You'll see those areas that are checked on here. These are things that we have already made large strides in with from the inception of this organization. You see things that have stars on them. Those are areas that we are now starting to put resources and focus in and actually need a lot of help in. And we'll talk more about that later. But we have done some amazing things going forward in terms of our accomplishments to date, and now what we're going to be focusing on going forward in the future. The first part of this is really about developing engagement program. What we've been able to establish so far is touch points with our community. We've delivered 6 programs, which include speakers from businesses, the university. We've been promoting and supporting our MBA program so that we are already engaging both graduates and students in trying to understand what we're doing in this space and what this organization is doing to help. We've hosted tailgates to try and bring community together. We've created a vibrant professional network of alumni. Now, keep in mind, when we first started this, it was about 5 people. Now we are up to over 2,000 folks that are connected through our LinkedIn presence and that are a part of this organization. And we want to continue to grow that. We've also created connections with students and prospective intern organizations and folks that are actually hiring to be able to really manifest that level of engagement with both graduates and students. We've engaged faculty, and this is a key part of our mission. We need to have that connection to those educators on campus so that they're very much aware of what the federal government needs. What are the disciplines and technologies and skill sets that are going to be important for our graduates to be successful? So we've already initiated a pilot program with 4 deans at the institution to help create that connection of information and insight so that we can have an influence on what's being taught at the university. We started out with the leadership of JMU Federal Dukes meeting with the faculty. And in that meeting, we had every dean from the college participate in it, something that has never happened before, where they all show up and they all sit down and engage in a real dialogue about what we are focused on and how we can help them. And so we're trying to take advantage of that foothold and create distinct one-on-one relationships with each one of the deans, and then to be able to impact the professors and what the learning pedagogy, to use an academic term, what that's all about and how we can influence it. And next, we want to create identity. And that's when we talk about JMU being viewed in the federal space as a player, as an institution that has knowledge, skill sets, and can be an asset. And one of the ways to do that is really around research. A lot of what you saw in those previous slides about the market, you saw a tremendous amount of research dollars going to institutions like UVA. And we think we should be a player in this space as well. So we are trying to work very hard to help the organization understand what that means. And we've had success. We've been working directly with JMU in pursuing a National Science Foundation grant to be, as I said, a pathfinder to show them how knowledge about the space, coupled with competency of the university, can compete for these research dollars. And so we've been successful in getting that process started. So those are some of the key accomplishments we've gotten through so far. There have been lots of others, but that's something I wanted to share with you from what we've done in the past. Now, where are we going? From 24 to 25, we really want to continue to build on that engagement level that we've had so far, get more tactical alignment with each JMU college. We need resources to help us do that. We have the opportunity, we have their ear, we have the situation with senior leadership at the university where they believe in what we're doing all the way from the president down. So what we want to do is build on where we've started and drive more engagement with leadership, academic leadership at the university, so that they are participating in developing the skill sets necessary to be successful in the federal space. As well, we want to get really focused on platforms that are driving not only job opportunities, but also business networking, so that small businesses that are led by JMU alums are connecting with large businesses and able to continue to grow their businesses. And as a result, as you saw on that previous slide, this whole notion of a virtuous circle, at the end of the day, JMU Dukes being successful in building through their entrepreneurship skills and competencies, building businesses, and then being able to hire more JMU graduates and inspire graduates is what we hope to create in terms of this virtuous circle. I think there's a lot of upside for everybody who's willing to participate and going forward in that sense. And last but not least here, all of this stuff takes time and it takes resources. And we felt it very important for us to establish a fundraising mechanism for JMU Federal Dukes. And I am really thrilled that we have actually made significant progress. And as Anne-Marie shared at the beginning of our presentation, we've gotten our first sponsor, a corporate sponsor in ShorePoint. They've committed resources to the Federal Dukes, and this is the again, starting point for what we want to be able to do with multiple organizations so that we have the resources to fund more of these activities that bring us together and create that network and lays the foundation for us being able to fund scholarships for folks to be able to get into JMU and be a part of our community. So these are some of the execution priorities that we're involved in today, with the notion that we're just getting started and there's so much upside to what we can, how we can be successful in doing this. So let's go to the next slide. So building for success, just to kind of summarize where we are. First of all, we started out really getting launched, creating that Pathfinder, that first professional alumni chapter, something different, new, innovative. Then we started adding leadership, and some of those folks are on this call right now. And we've got a tremendous group of folks that are leading our programs, and that helped us get this off the ground. This really manifests us into a real organization, and I really can't thank those folks that you're going to see on this call later on for their commitment. We started the expansion of our engagement in 22 and 23 with the university. That to us is extremely important because, frankly, it created our street credibility at JMU. And now we've got the university paying attention to what we're doing and supporting us and giving us tremendous resources to get this done. Paula Pogles, who's on this call right now, I want to thank her and the folks in the alumni organization for their support for what we're doing, because without them, we can't accomplish everything we want to accomplish. Now, from the 23 timeframe to 24, we start building these programs, these committees. We started bringing on additional folks to help us execute, to help these chairs execute their particular roles and missions, which you'll hear more about. And then from 24 to 25, we are now starting this process of maturing our sponsorship process, getting the resources to execute everything that we have in our plan that we think will be impactful. And next, it's elevating our impact. And as you saw in that little fishbone chart, we have some audacious goals. We would love to have our organization, have JMU, have a broad physical presence in the DMV eventually. We think that's impactful. But in the meantime, we've got to crawl, walk, run, and we're finished crawling. And now we are at the point where we're looking to help build on what we've accomplished and start to actually stand up and run. And so we're looking for a lot of help to get there, but I think we've accomplished a great deal in a very short period of time. And there's tremendous opportunities here. Now, in order to be able to do this, it takes volunteers. Everybody here is a volunteer on this team, and we need more help. And so part of this call is really a call to volunteer. We're looking for more folks to participate. We're looking for people that can impact this team. And one of the key volunteers to start out with here is our chairperson for programming and events. This is what it looks like. This is kind of a description of what we look at in terms of these roles. And in this programming events role, we're talking about creating programming activities, helping to build a master calendar and coordinate that calendar, working on our communications and social media activities, helping with the university engagement in terms of the contact with those with those leaders at the university, and the concept of alumni engagement. These are all areas of opportunities to support that we're going to talk about, that the chairs in these particular areas are going to talk about as we go forward in this presentation. These are the kind of things that you can help us do by volunteering. So with that and an understanding of what this looks like, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin Plexico, who is our current chair for programming and events. Kevin?
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. Yeah, my name's Kevin Plexico. My day job is working at Deltek, a software company that focuses on the government contracting market, and I manage our information products there. And then my volunteer opportunity here at the JMU Federal Dukes is to run the program and events committee group here and basically plan our events schedule and recruit speakers and find valuable speakers and content to bring to the alumni, to the students, and the faculty that we engage with. As Mike shared with our strategic priorities, increasing awareness, preparing future employees, and building pathways for those currently in their career and those preparing for a career is sort of a lot of the focus of our events. We really view our events as a microphone opportunity for us to help provide educational and networking opportunities for alumni, students, and of course the faculty that operate around common topics of interest. And so we have generally a target of having 4 programs per year. I think we're on a really good pace coming into the next year of accelerating that, with already our 4 programs accelerating and identified. I'll talk about those in just a moment. We are also tripling our team. We've added Veronica McKinnon and Claire Pardo to help with event coordination and planning, and they're volunteers who are currently working in the corporate world here in the DC area, and they are JMU alumni as well that have offered to help coordinate some of our events activities to give us that platform to accelerate the outreach that we have. We've had a number of successful programs, just a couple that I'll mention. Navigating the federal contracting arena is a partnership that we have with Ken Dodds. He's the VP of Government Policy at the Coalition for Government Procurement. He's also the former head of policy, small business policy at the Small Business Administration. He's a JMU alumni as well. We're fortunate to have many senior leaders in the government contracting industry and government to help us with our programs, and Ken is one of them. We also organized an event focused specifically on AI and responsible use of AI by intelligence professionals, which was just a fascinating conversation with someone who's worked in the Intel community and how they think about AI augmenting what they do and supporting what they do for our nation's intelligence industry. And that was both a webinar and in-person event. And just a couple of the events we already have planned for the year ahead. We're going to do another visit with Ken Dodds, focusing on the new Trump administration and what we think that means for contracting policy and specifically small business policy, and how we expect that to evolve under a new administration. So looking forward to that conversation on January 7th. So if you haven't registered for that, we'd encourage you to do that. We also have a cybersecurity webinar that we're planning with ShorePoint, Matt Brown, who's CEO there, cybersecurity software and information business. And then Chris DeRusha, he's the director of global public sector public sector security compliance at Google, and also the former chief information security officer for the federal government. So a really good session on cybersecurity for that. And then we're partnering also with some faculty and some of the program groups at JMU. We have a session that we're working on with the JMU X Labs group. They have some really unique internship and corporate partnership opportunities for some student lab work and case studies that are focused around entrepreneurial and innovative solutions that they support with corporate partners. And then we also have a session we're working on with Dr. Kara Dillard, who is the interim director of the James Madison Center for Civic Engagement, where we're looking to talk about the role and importance of civic engagement in our democracy, which is obviously a timely topic given the election cycle we just went through. So looking for volunteers to help, speaker recruitment, session organization, outreach to others to expand our audience, and really excited about the sessions that we have coming up. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Mike. Thanks. Or turn it to Lisa directly. Sorry, Lisa, go ahead.
I'll take it. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Shaymont. I am the communications chair for the JMU Federal Dukes. I went to JMU for my undergrad and master's, so I am a double Duke 2011, 2013. I majored in writing, rhetoric, and technical communication and media arts and design for my undergrad, and then my master's was in writing, rhetoric, and technical communications. So that's why I'm the communications chair. Isn't it funny how threads just have they just follow you through. I've been, really happy to do this the last couple of years. If you've interacted with the LinkedIn group or with the LinkedIn persona of the JMU Federal Dukes, that's me behind the scenes. So the purpose really is to have an outreach strategy for the JMU Federal Dukes. We've grown significantly on our online presence over the last couple of years, and it's how we're able to interact and communicate when we do have wonderful events and other in-person programming and online. So it's a really important job, and I definitely could use some help if others are around. Some notable accomplishments. Our LinkedIn group passed 2,000 members. We are at over 2,100 members as of November of this year. I mean, we have seen really significant growth, and it's been great to see an active community, which is really part of the underlying principles of what we're trying to accomplish. If you've ever seen the JMU Federal Dukes alumni spotlights, those also come through me and get written up. It is something that I would like to push forward even more in this coming year. We like to promote, at least the 4 programs over the course of the year. We want to have at least 1 new post in LinkedIn in our group per week and a minimum of 6 alumni spotlights per year. And we want to grow our LinkedIn group by 10%, which I do think is, totally reasonable goals. Now for the communications, it really is me with the support of everybody else. So what I would really like to see is anybody that has interest in social media graphic development. Even though I'm a SMAD major, media arts and design was not my forte. I did not do well in the Photoshop class that everybody needs to take. That would be really funny if you took it. But anyway, I use Canva. And so if there's others that have like a creative flair that would like to get involved, that would be awesome. Similarly with content, we all know that we live in the golden age of LinkedIn when it comes to professional communities. And in order to be considered active, we need to have a lot of content churning and burning at any given time. And also Google Docs master. So this is, as we grow, what we're finding and we bring in more individuals, we need a single source of truth for some of the communications information that we have. And so these are all sort of things that are underneath my purview, and I would welcome any other volunteers.
That's great. Sorry, that is fantastic. Thank you, Lisa. So as you could probably guess, I am not Matt Brown, but I am sitting in for Matt on this, on the University Engagement Committee. And so for those of you who didn't hear the beginning introduction, I am CEO of a IT services company that deals with the federal government, primarily in the public health research space. And I am as well a double Duke with undergraduate in communication arts, as well as a MBA in marketing. And like Matt, I am also a proud member of the JMU Football Alumni Brotherhood. So I'm excited to support Matt as he is off making money. He's doing some things with his business today. So I want to talk about university engagement, which is something that is tremendously impactful for us. This group that Matt has led has acted as a liaison between the Federal Dukes and stakeholders at the university. And that reaches out beyond just faculty, but also to the other functions that help coordinate academic activities at the university. This is extremely important because if you don't get that sort of academic buy-in to what you're trying to accomplish, to build skills, you don't get very far in terms of impacting the academic curriculum. So the success metrics have really been about engagement here. We have met with the deans for targeted support 2 times per semester. That is a goal of ours. A success metric for us is to be able to meet with those deans at least twice a year. It's also to be able to identify areas that provide support to professors within each college each semester, because while the federal government is huge, the opportunity in terms of skill set is huge as well. It touches just about every curriculum that JMU is involved in. So we need to be able to have a better sense of where those opportunities are to engage and what we can do to help share what the federal government is looking for in skill sets there. And expanding our liaison presence to 100% of the deans by this spring semester. So we've started down this process in terms of success metrics. We've also, or at least Matt has also been able to expand his team somewhat with Mike Fleischer, Mike Zorosky, I pronounced that incorrectly, sorry, Mike, Reed Madison and Drew Henderson. So we have been able to get at least some additional resources on board to help with that liaison. Our notable accomplishments, now we have had a direct engagement with Bob Covert, who is now acting provost, but his day job is Dean of Integrated Science and Engineering. That one-on-one engagement has gone particularly well, but we've also established relationships with arts and letters, college of business, and professional and continuing education. So we have made some progress in terms of engaging these other elements of leaders in these organizations at the university. We've also been able to brief faculty in integrated science and technology of opportunities for support. And that's been very important for us to be able to, one, understand how that relationship with the academic staff really works. So that was really important for us to accomplish, as well as getting a chance to talk to the folks at Arts and Letters to show them, hey, this is the art of the possible. There are lots of disciplines that we are now that the federal government is taking advantage of that are coming out of areas that you may not necessarily suspect they would, and Arts and Letters being one of those. And we've been able to drive a joint webinar with the MBA program to really help them understand marketing benefits of the program itself, and current and prospective students where you can take advantage of the experience of going through the MBA program and what its impacts are in terms of your opportunity professionally in the federal government space. Now, as you can tell, that's a pretty heavy lift. There are a number of academic functions that we need to maintain ongoing relationship with, and it's key to the success of Federal Dukes. But we need more volunteers to take on the role as the liaison for the different faculty organizations. We need to build on the team that we have. So we need volunteers to serve as direct points of contact with colleges. And based on the number of engagements we want to have, we need 7 more individuals to step up and to join Matt's team. This is, again, really important. We're going to be, those folks who are taking that role on are going to be supported by the entire team at JMU Federal Dukes. But again, we need individuals who are willing to jump in and take a college and take a dean in particular and build that relationship. We'll help establish the relationship. You just need to be able to connect and communicate with them to find out more about what they need and to share more about what we have to offer in order to help impact curriculum as well as engage those undergraduate students in terms of career opportunities, the possibilities in the federal space. So that's what we're doing from a university engagement standpoint. With that, I think I will turn it over to our next presenter.
Hey, everybody, it's Chris Richards down here in Chile, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Graduated in 1995, and I co-founded a company called Incredible Supply and Logistics. We do really exciting work surrounding product acquisition and logistics and shipping for the federal defense and intelligence community. And work closely with my co-chair, John Carr, surrounding alumni engagement, really activities, and we break it up really kind of into two different things. I'd call it kind of just technology leadership, and working with our leadership team, we quickly realized that we really needed a full branding exercise and have the resources and tools that any startup company would need. So we worked closely with the leadership team and JMU's alumni organization and even JMU's marketing organization to register a URL and build out a purpose-built website to help us have really just a central source of truth for really all of our programs, our mission, our calendar, and all the tools that you would expect to be able to promote really all the activities that you're doing. So if you haven't been there before, I highly encourage you to visit jmufederaldukes.com, and you'll get kind of a summary of the experience. And that's kind of just been an ongoing mission to help support engagement. So how can people learn about us if you're an alumni or a student or somebody that's looking to engage with us directly? So that has been exciting. We clearly work closely with the team, but in particular work really closely with Lisa in communications to help really support anything that she would need to communicate with all of our different platforms. We're excited to bring on a new team member this year, Ryan, who's a younger Duke, but has been really instrumental in working with us to have direct linkage with the Metro Dukes, which has been fantastic. And then we also invested, as you can imagine, it takes dollars to invest in tools to better communicate. So we invested in social infrastructure, including Sprout Social, that helps Lisa communicate kind of once to a platform and push that out. And then also Canvas, just some kind of graphics design tools that we need to build out what we need. So we took on a leadership role there from a kind of a technology perspective, looking for anybody that's interested or has a specific talent to help us continue to kind of grow that web presence from a design perspective and even a tooling perspective. And then the second part of engagement that we work on quite a bit is kind of live events. So we've done live networking and happy hour events throughout the DMV. And we've also done some fun networking events, hosting tailgates at the football games, and we've even done some at the basketball games. So really just looking to create ways to network in really fun fashions with the leadership team, and then also engage with everybody electronically on whatever platform that they are to learn what we're doing, revisit some of the incredible webinars and videos that are being built by the team, to just continue to engage with the team around the country and really just build the network. So it's just been an absolutely amazing experience. Have met so many alumni just doing incredible things within the federal government and within the private sector. And it's just, it's an incredible group that I can see is doing some impactful things. And we just need a little bit more help. You'll do a lot of real good, and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. So, thank you for the engagement. Continue to engage with us, and look forward to meeting everybody real soon out there.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Klein. I'm a 2013 grad from JMU, marketing major, working in the government contracting field now for 10 plus years, doing marketing comms, both on the corporate side and the client side. I'm currently the sponsorship chair, and probably the newest member of the team as of last year. So I've been a year in this role, jumping in, and had previously also been involved with the Metro Dukes. I was the president of the Metro Dukes back in from 2016 to 2018. So I've been highly engaged with JMU, since the beginning of my JMU journey 15 years ago. But since joining this team, I know our main objective coming in, there was a need for, as we're continuing to look at giving across the university, which has always been, a need since I was a student there. But also now looking at what we're doing with the Federal Dukes and with any alumni organization needing to kickstart an endowment, not only for operational, but also for being able to grow and expand and to have an impact, not only in the university, with alumni, with connecting with businesses. When we start talking about that vision for having a presence, in the DC area, all of that will, ultimately cost some money, right? So as we're looking at different ways to be creative and looking at ways to partner with and add value back to folks in that were, either JMU alum or that are well invested in the university in other ways, we're looking for ways to create partnerships. And so in my role, we're looking at doing that. We kickstarted with our first, sponsorship this year with ShorePoint, Matt Brown's company, that was just mentioned at the beginning. So we're very thankful for him for kicking us off here with that first sponsorship. And that is a broad reaching sponsorship deal that is going to be mutually beneficial for us. And as we're not only promoting their company, but also looking for ways for us to, help them with whether it's recruiting or branding awareness, bringing in different, whether it's speakers for webinars. We're also looking at ways that we can develop sponsorships with our webinar events as well. And we have a few in the pipeline that are about to be launching for those events here moving forward. So some of our success metrics as we're looking at identifying folks for reaching out that are whether they're executives, they own companies, they're founders. We're looking to partner with folks in those areas, in the GovCon industry. And so our goals have been to identify those and just create that pipeline. And so that is, needed some research from the get-go, some networking, some outreach, some LinkedIn, just digging, and some grassroots efforts there, some tracking some of these initiatives and engagements and outreach. And so that's been kind of what we've been doing from the get-go. Been meeting, sitting down with folks and really broadening, our network as well. And I say I'm talking about Tim Hartman and I. We've been out there doing this kind of together. But we are looking again to launch that endowment, which starts at around that $20,000 ranking. I believe that we'll be there relatively soon here. Notable accomplishments, we're looking at some of the things we put together this year, which I've already alluded to, not only our sponsorship and creating templates, documentations, contracts, agreements, everything too. Those were kind of creating the foundation for what we plan to do as our partnerships were beginning to develop. As far as volunteer opportunities, of course, we're working closely with, all of our chairs, Kevin on the webinar side, Lisa for communication promotion, everything too. But we're going to certainly need support as it comes to execution and supporting these agreements. So as we are looking for to add value, we want to make sure that we're actually doing that on the back end as well, and following through with the branding and the events and webinars and all those pieces. Now, there's also a lot of work too that comes into play as far as the networking and outreach, relationship building. And so if we are partnering with folks and we're, the more people that we have on our team, the bigger the network we can create, and that will, increase our engagement power. And we also, I think, need some a little bit of help with a lot of, I think Lisa alluded to as well, just that whether it's Google Docs planning and tracking and all these different engagements, there's certainly some work to be done there too. So we're happy to bring on some folks that can help us with some of those pieces. But no, we've had a lot of success this year, and we're just getting started with the sponsorship route. Now I'll transition to upcoming events. I know Kevin already alluded to a lot of the events that are on this calendar, but we'll start here with January with that webinar with Ken Dodds with Navigating Federal Contracting, which is going to be a great event. And then January, we're also, I know JMU, the COB is going to be having a career trek in DC, which we hope to be involved with as well. In the winter and spring, we have cybersecurity webinar, and then also a civic engagement webinar. So again, though, as we are looking at opportunities to sponsor some webinars, there's certainly opportunities for that as well. So even though this is what our current calendar looks like, we're happy to, if you're on here too and you're thinking about wanting to engage in that way, we're happy to feel free to reach out to me, and we can set something up and talk about ways to whether give back or support and find value in having a webinar here. We just hosted our local watch party for homecoming. That was down at JMU at Hanson Field, so we were thankful for that. But we'll certainly look to have that event again, as well as another watch party up here that we can do this a little bit more accessible for folks in the DC area. As far as next steps go, we provided a link in the chat for folks that are interested in applying and are interested in volunteering, not only for that programming role that we mentioned at the beginning as a chair, but also for any of our other volunteer positions that we discussed. So those are going to be due December 18th. And if you have any questions about any of those roles that maybe you haven't already asked in the chat here, definitely feel free to reach out to any of us, and we'd be happy to sync up with you. We'll be looking to have discussions with volunteers in early January to discuss next steps with everything, and then we'll announce things in February. Beyond that, we invite you all to connect with us. Like Lisa mentioned, our LinkedIn group is very active with 2,100 plus alumni. It's a great place to get engaged in the GovCon industry. If you're new, if you're experienced in this realm, it's a great place to find and connect with other Federal Dukes. We're up, like Chris mentioned, we have a website where you can learn more information, and then you're free to reach out to us via email as well. Beyond the Federal Dukes pages, we also encourage you to find JMU Alumni Association information across all of these social channels. They do a great job of keeping all of those channels, and is a great place to get additional information. I'll kick it back to Anne-Marie for Q&A.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt. If I could ask all of the leadership team, including Paula Polglass, who's the executive director for JMU Alumni Affairs, to come on screen, and we're going to do a little Q&A. There was one question that was put into the chat by Carl asking about getting some mentorship as he's starting a defense contracting firm. Kevin Plexico graciously provided an answer into that. But Carl, I do want to say that getting involved with Federal Dukes, post your request on the LinkedIn page, and perhaps some of the volunteer opportunities that we've described here might help you to build the relationships that you're going to need for a successful business. And truly, for those of us who are alumni and see our colleagues from other universities with strong, vibrant alumni associations find great jobs, get great people to work with them, that's what we want to do here with Federal Dukes. And Carl, you can take advantage of that. Any other questions?
Well, Anne-Marie, I did want to touch on Carl's question about mentor protege. And I sent him my number to be able to reach out. There are a lot of considerations when you start looking at establishing a mentor protege relationship, depending on where you are as a mentor versus a protege. I'm assuming you're in a position as a protege, but I am happy to take this offline and share some insights, having been on both ends of that spectrum, and share with you some of the things you need to consider when you're looking for that type of relationship going forward. It is not an easy process, so I'm happy to spend a little bit of time with you.
Mike, thank you very much. Kevin, thank you. The quality of leadership that we have on Federal Dukes and the generosity as exhibited here by Kevin and Mike in sharing their expertise to help other Federal Dukes. This is why we wanted to create Federal Dukes. And Carl, we wish you the greatest of success. We hope that you keep in touch and you get involved and you spread the word about Federal Dukes. Any other questions? So hearing none, I would like to thank everyone for joining this webinar, and I want to give a special shout out to the best leadership team imaginable. We accomplish more in a few hours each month than I sometimes accomplish in more hours with other organizations. So thank you for living out the values of JMU, holding the doors open, and thank you for an absolute brilliant opportunity that we have as Federal Dukes going forward. I'd like to thank our audience, and please look at that call for volunteers link. You'll get a follow-up with that link via email. And please stay tuned in to the many channels on Federal Dukes and make it a purple and gold day.